Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, talking about what is probably the biggest news in gaming that we've had for quite some time, and that is Microsoft acquiring or planning to acquire Activision for 68, about $69 billion. Nice. For those of you watching this live here on Twitch, this will become a recording. And it'll be on YouTube as well. So those of you that can't catch all of it on Twitch, or if you're on YouTube watching the replay of this, make sure to go, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do these Just Chattings every once in a while talking about finance, because that's what I do for a living. And you can catch me on Twitch. I normally post on both YouTube and Twitch Warzone content. So this is kind of a near and dear topic to me. And I have some thoughts, I have some takes. I kind of look at this both from a gamer perspective and from a finance perspective, because for those of you that don't know my background, I am a TMT analyst for public equities, so technology, media, and telecom. So this is right in my area, and I've done some work on the video game companies in the past and various content companies. So I've done a lot of work on this before. I've done some work on the video game console battles, done a lot of research on that. Publicized some stuff at my previous job, and so I think that this will be a very interesting topic to talk about, to discuss. I know there's been a lot of people, some big streamers talk about it today. I saw Tim the Tatman talk about it. I saw a Lavish dude. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. You don't know how you feel about this? Great. We're going to talk all about it, so don't worry. Like I said, I'm going to talk about this from a finance perspective. What does the business combination look like? What are some effects to it, and as well as the gaming side from consumer side. And Lavish, I know you just said you don't know how you feel about it. That's all fair. I think we all are kind of a little bit hesitant. If you guys don't know, Microsoft, of course, owns Xbox. I've been an Xbox guy for as long as I can remember. My dad got the first Xbox with 360, Xbox One. I got an Xbox Series X sitting right next to me. I play on console. I don't play on PC. And been a big Call of Duty fan my entire life. Played Call of Duty 3 all the way up to grinding Warzone at the moment. It's either going to save Call of Duty or make it 10 times worse. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But for right now, we're going to do a little bit overview of what's going on. So Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard for $69 billion. It's pretty much going to be almost an all-stock deal. I mean, all cash deal from what I will guess, because Microsoft has a big cash load, one of the most cash-rich companies out there besides someone like Apple. And what's really going to be interesting is if this deal will even go through. That's one thing that a lot of people don't understand about deals this size, is they need to go through a lot of regulation from the DOJ and the FTC most of the time. I mean, Amazon tried to acquire, or is in the process of acquiring, MGM Film Studios to be a part of Amazon Prime. There's been a lot of discussion on that from the FTC saying, can they do that or not? It's the same thing that's going to happen here, because you essentially have Microsoft acquiring one of the big game developers and all the developers underneath Activision Blizzard. So your Ravensofts, your Infinity Wards, all those guys are all going to be here, along with King, which, Candy Crush, Blizzard, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, StarCraft. So there is a precedent for, is this even going to be allowed? Because it essentially goes and says, okay, Sony does have in-house publishing. Microsoft has in-house publishing too. 343 brought us the Halo series. But this is kind of them acquiring it and going and saying, from a legal perspective, people are going to go and say, can they allow things to be Xbox exclusive, PC exclusive? Because they now have that kind of fundamental power to go and say, we want Call of Duty to only be on Xbox. People from Call of Duty, people from Xbox have gone and said they're not going to go and let that happen. They want the player base to be big. Considering the fact that things like Call of Duty, especially now, where the battle passes become so important in gaming, they're going to want all the players that they can to be on that platform, to be on the game, because it just shrinking the player base allows for smaller revenue stream, right? Because if Lavish over here in the chat, I know Lavish goes and plays on PlayStation, if he can't buy the battle pass because it's an Xbox exclusive, shrinks the revenue base. Lavish brings up a great point. The whole reason why this deal is essentially happening, and Microsoft is getting what I would go and call a bargain price for Activision, is what's happened recently with all the sexual assault claims and all that's been going on. I do have a chart over here of Activision stock. Over here in August is when all this kind of sexual assault things came to light, right? For what happened with Blizzard. And then stock just tumbled pretty much ever since then, from highs of $100 over there in June, July, all the way down. Lavish, exactly right. They would lose so much money if Call of Duty became an Xbox exclusive. And this was all pretty much, here's kind of the SEC investigation. There's still ongoing investigations going on regarding what happened at Blizzard. And you can see stock hit an all-time low here at 56, kind of post Vanguard launch. We can talk about the success of Vanguard, later. But here we got the news, Microsoft earlier today, that Microsoft is going to be acquiring Activision. Stock jumped because they said they're pretty much going to pay $95 on it, which is kind of where it was over here. So it's pretty much all the effects of that kind of sexual assault, kind of all those headlines kind of got wiped out here. And for Activision, it's kind of they kind of had their backs to the wall anyways. They were either going to go and have to go through long legal battles or get acquired somewhere, because they Overwatch and World of Warcraft, and Diablo, their dev cycles have been completely shaken up by all the talent that's fled Activision Blizzard, since all this has come to light. So they had a big problem there. On the Activision side, we've had a lot of struggles with Caldera, with Vanguard, for the Call of Duty side. So there's been a big question mark over there. And what we've seen now is Microsoft coming in and saying, you know what, looks like a great time to make a purchase. And they acquired Bethesda, if you guys don't remember, actually earlier in 2021 for $7 billion. And they got a whole bunch of titles. Bethesda is one of those legendary game studios that makes games like Red Dead Redemption, Fallout, a long list of amazing titles. Wolfenstein, Dishonored, Doom. And the reason why Microsoft made that purchase is it buffs up Game Pass. For those of you that don't know, cycling all my tabs here. Game Pass is Microsoft's subscription service that allows anyone that goes and purchases that subscription. It's kind of like Netflix for games. You go and pay a subscription price, and you get access to a whole bunch of titles. I personally have the Ultimate because I have Xbox Live. You also get EA within that too. So you think about when they originally bought Bethesda, it was, how do we buff up Xbox Game Pass? Because much like Netflix, much like some of these streaming content models is, they can develop their own in-house content, or they can go and license content from elsewhere. That's why, you see Seinfeld is now on Netflix, because they paid, I think it was $100 million for 5 years to go and have that on their platform. Microsoft is doing the same thing with these game developers, like Bethesda, saying, oh, we want Fallout 4 on there. Well, in order to go and do that, they need to pay a licensing term to go and have it on the platform. So Microsoft went and said, we got a lot of cash. We can buff up Xbox Game Pass, by gaining a developer. So they bought Bethesda. And they're doing the same logic applies to Activision. You think about the catalog that Activision has, right? Call of Duty. You have Overwatch. You have a whole bunch of amazing titles that can then be put on Xbox Game Pass. And Xbox Game Pass lets you go and download the title, play it on your console, play it on your PC, and then if you're done with it, you can just uninstall. You don't have to keep buying the same games over and over and over again. And for Call of Duty, that's going to be huge, because you can sit there, download the newest Call of Duty when it becomes available on Xbox Game Pass. Halo was what we saw Xbox Game Pass really thrive with, which Halo Infinite came out. Multiplayer is free for everyone, but you got the campaign for free included with Xbox Game Pass because you pay that $15 a month for a year. And I always think Xbox Game Pass is a pretty good deal, especially if you buy the Ultimate package, because you go and you do the math, you know, about $160 a year. How many AAA titles do you play in that time? You know, buying one is about $60. So you can go and play about 3 or 4 AAA titles in a year, and it'll pay for Xbox Game Pass essentially. And we could go and see if the deal does go through in 2023. The new Call of Duties be released in a similar fashion of Halo Infinite, where, yeah, if you have Xbox Game Pass, you don't have to pay for the campaign. Everyone else has to go pay for the campaign. They can do that if they want to. And for Call of Duty, it could be, you know, multiplayer could be free, campaign you can buy on your own, or it's included with Xbox Game Pass, or just the title just launches on Xbox Game Pass. And if you are on PC, you can go and get it through Xbox Game Pass, or if you're PlayStation, you can buy that. Either way, but they're kind of put, if the deal does go through, they're going to put it all on Xbox Game Pass. That's pretty smart because you get a breadth of content. Now, part of what Microsoft is going to have to deal with is some of those issues in Blizzard and try and turn it around. But I feel like they can go and do that. If anyone can, it's probably Microsoft. They could probably strip out all the issues there and redo it completely. And as Lavish pointed out here in the chat, Modern Warfare 2019 is unplayable at the moment. A lot of issues with Warzone going on. Trust me, I streamed last weekend. I actually put up a YouTube short today all about some of the glitches that are still in Caldera. Half the lobbies getting, you know, abandoned, all that stuff. But from where I sit here and I go, this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to go and do. Will it go and save titles like Call of Duty? Could be. See, Lavish pointing out they may have an Xbox exclusive mode for Xbox. I don't think so. I really don't think so, because for if you don't know, Sony has paid to go and have Xbox exclusive modes for Call of Duty because they had the 5-year exclusive cycle. And I think you may go and see not exclusive modes. I think you may see first release on Xbox like a day early or something like that, and then it'd be available to the general public, like I said, like through your Game Pass or something like that. I don't think they're going to do exclusive modes. No one really likes the exclusive modes. I know for Cold War there was an exclusive zombies mode that no one ended up playing only because it's PlayStation. And with people now migrating more and more towards the kind of PC game like Call of Duty, plugging in a controller. Yeah, Lavish, like you said, like when you were on PlayStation, you hated that they had an exclusive mode because it's poorly developed. No one really plays it because you're only dealing with one player base versus the entirety. I kind of like that Microsoft is gonna, if they do acquire them, push it towards Game Pass, because you can have the option now. Do I want to play on PC? Do I want to play on a console? All in one really nice ecosystem. I mean, they have a lot of PC games on Xbox. Yeah, exactly. You want to play a lot of you want to play Onslaught, which is the PlayStation mode for zombies mode for Cold War, and you couldn't because you had some friends on PC, you had some friends on Xbox. I think Microsoft knows some of these issues, right? No one, if there's anything that Warzone has taught us in crossplay, it's that you want to expand your player base, and exclusive modes really hinder that. So I don't think there's going to be exclusive modes on Call of Duty and other titles like Overwatch going forward. I think it's going to be more, you may get it early if you're a Game Pass subscriber. If you just want to buy it on PC, you may have to wait a day. I think it may be more of an early access, maybe towards the Xbox Game Pass, which you can go and buy. We saw that. You can go and buy Xbox Game Pass for PC. Right. And go and have some of those exclusivities, some of those early access, like I said, the Halo Infinite campaign being free with Xbox Game Pass. That's something that could definitely happen. And I don't think that's unreasonable for them to go and do, because people go and pay a lot of money for Xbox Game Pass. Like I said, I pay the $15 a month. I mean, Activision has an incredible catalog, and with CEO Satya Nadella of Xbox going and saying, world-class content and community, of course. That's what Microsoft is really buying here, is a big suite of content at a time where they can go and get it at a pretty decent bargain. If they would have done this deal, right? If they would have gone and done this deal, a year ago, or even 6 months ago, they'd be paying close to double what they're paying right now. What they will be paying, because it's pretty much going to be taken out at $95 a share. So they're getting it when there's kind of blend the water, which is smart on their part. Microsoft, when they make acquisitions, they're extremely smart about doing. And what you're going to go and get is all the knowledge that Microsoft and all their internal dev teams have with Xbox, bringing it with Activision. I think it will be a good marriage. Again, if it goes through, like I said, there's legal issues with can it go through, can it not go through. And all this is a big play for Game Pass and getting more people subscribed to there, both PC and on Xbox. I think, having those titles available will increase the subscription rate. I mean, I remember when no EA titles were on there, and then EA and Microsoft went to a licensing agreement where EA titles would be on there, which goes and keeps adding more value to Game Pass, because we all know consoles are a one-time purchase, but if you can go and keep people coming back to a service like Xbox Game Pass and keeping that $10 to $15 a month from a person, keep that recurring over time, it's a lot more revenue than just a one-time console purchase. I mean, if someone subscribed for 5 years on Xbox Game Pass, that's like selling a next-gen console for retail price, not for the extreme market prices. And same thing, right? New Call of Duty comes out. Let's go and say it's Modern Warfare 2, 2019 Modern Warfare 2, comes to Xbox Game Pass. You probably drive a lot of subscriptions to that, and to keep it installed like Warzone, you got to go and keep it unless you buy it outright. So it'll keep people on there for much longer than it would if it's just a single purchase type item, which is really interesting, because that's where I thought gaming was going a couple years ago, to be more of a subscription-based model, no disc. It's a bad look for companies like GameStop for sure. If you're still buying physical disc of games, I don't know what you're doing, because it's so much easier to purchase it either via Xbox Game Pass, have it on your console, uninstall, save that room, versus buying a mountain of disc or just outright purchasing games. Like, I think the last game I purchased was Vanguard, and before that, I think the last game I purchased was probably Modern Warfare 2019, or GTA 5 back in 2018. Other than that, I've played most of my titles I've been playing have all been from Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, exactly. $15 times 60 equals 900. Yeah, $15 a month. No. You've got that. You've got that math incorrect, Lavish, for how I'm applying it. I'm saying like. Oh, for 5 years. Yeah, $900. Yeah, no. You see why going and having subscription service for games is so profitable. I mean, over a 5-year lifespan, instead of think about that, for 5 years paying for each Call of Duty for $60, you're at more of a $300 mark right there for selling a game disc or having them purchase, versus keeping them on Xbox Game Pass. Which one would Microsoft rather do? Xbox Game Pass, for sure. You extract a lot more money out of people but you also offer them a lot more content and value, to be completely honest. I mean, having been an Xbox Game Pass subscriber for 3 years now, I mean, I've played a lot of games in that time, probably, and I've played games, like I played through Titanfall a couple weeks ago. Wanted to replay the campaign, download on Xbox Game Pass, played it, uninstalled it, instead of having to go buy a $30 disc used. Same thing with, I used to do it for the Formula One games, where what's really cool about the Formula One games and for sports games and for some of these other games is they refresh every year, right? There's F1 2019, F1 2020, F1 2021. With EA being on Xbox Game Pass, I can download the newest one after a lag, play it, uninstall it. Same thing with like a Madden or an NBA 2K. You can do the same thing. And it's going to be the same thing for how Call of Duty works. Think about it, instead of having to buy Cold War, I could have downloaded on Xbox Game Pass and then uninstalled it and not having to go and say, oh man, I sunk $60-$70 in buying the title. And now I'm sitting here never going to play it again because it's already 1 year, it's 1 year behind dev cycle. And then, and I don't want to play it, except I may, re-download it off of Xbox Game Pass to go and play a round of zombies or something like that. I'm not going to go back to Cold War for the story. Definitely not for the multiplayer, because we know Activision, 2-year life cycle for their games, multiplayer is gone. Look at, like you mentioned, Modern Warfare 2019, that multiplayer is pretty much unplayable. I mean, I've seen some FaZe Jev YouTube videos of him going back to it and seeing how completely unplayable it is. Wouldn't it be just great if you could just uninstall it and not have to, think about the purchase you made? I think it's a lot better. I know FIFA 2020 is on Xbox Game Pass because I saw it on there a couple days ago. But that's because they licensed it with EA. Think about once Activision and Microsoft merge in 2023, again, if all the legal issues get passed, which there's going to be a lot of legal issues there. Think about being able to be able to play all the Diablos from front to back with just paying the subscription fee. That's what we're talking about here. Think about all the World of Warcraft DLCs. You can go, if you play on PC, you can download them all and play them without having to buy each one, because it's all going to be on the subscription. It's all going to be on Xbox Game Pass, whether you're paying for it on PC or Xbox. All the Diablos, Diablo 1, 2, and 3, all could be on there. I think on Xbox Game Pass PC, I think all the Dooms are on there. Like, all of them. Like, that's, like, it's such a good value, I think, for a lot of gamers, where they can go, it's just Netflix for games, right? Oh, I want to go play, all the Diablos. Well, you can go and download them. And once you download them, played one, you can uninstall. Huge content for value. Instead of having to purchase them just for a playthrough. You can download and uninstall every single time. Think about being able to go and boot up COD 3. They'll just merge it on there, most likely. Right? Because why go and have two different subscription services where you can just go and have all those guys go and pay the subscription on Xbox Game Pass? They'll most likely, I would imagine, the WoW subscription service would be added into Xbox Game Pass, maybe as an add-on. Just like a bundle, right? We talked about I showed this earlier. Where is it? Right? PC includes EA, but if you want console to include EA, you got to go to Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, where your gold's included, as opposed to having Xbox Game Pass $19.99 plus gold, so that's $20. You get the $15 one. Xbox Game Pass is included, and it comes with EA. Right? I could go and see one for PC, where for Ultimate, it includes World of Warcraft or StarCraft. I'm not as knowledgeable on StarCraft and not as knowledgeable on World of Warcraft as I am for COD and some of those. But you can see where it's going, right? Why? Because from a consumer perspective, right? You don't want to go and have two different subscriptions going on. Combine them all into one because okay, cool. Maybe they re-tier this so that there's another one that includes StarCraft and World War for $20 a month. WoW for $20 a month. So all your Blizzard subscriptions are included with EA, with Bethesda, all that stuff like that in like a super bundle. All right, Lavish, have a good one too. Like I said, this is all going to be, this Twitch stream is going to be up on YouTube so that more people can go and watch if they're not on Twitch, if they didn't catch the live stream. But I think you raised some really interesting points, and hopefully I talked them through with you enough that you can kind of understand them a little bit. If anyone else in chat wants to go and bring something up, please do, because I think it's like I said, if the deal does go through, I think it really sets an interesting precedent. Because that means EA and Take-Two are the only kind of devs that are left on the market that'll be supplying to PC and console. And when I think about things like the console wars are done pretty much. I mean, crossplay for things like Fortnite and Call of Duty have really kind of put the console wars to bed, other than some console exclusives. And most of those console exclusivities are, for Sony at least, are niche titles. Like anything from FromSoft is on PlayStation, but you can go and buy it on PC. And it's gonna be the same way with if Activision gets acquired. If this goes through, it'll probably be the same way. I mentioned before, like, maybe Call of Duty multiplayer is gonna always be free because it's on Xbox Game Pass. And same thing of like what Halo Infinite did. PC and Xbox multiplayer would be free, and then you can go and purchase the campaign, on your own. Now, like I said, I don't think it's gonna. I think it may be like that, as opposed to you still have to buy the game on Xbox, because they'll still allow PlayStation players to go and purchase the title individually. And at market price. I mean, it's the same thing for what EA does with their games. Now they are on Xbox Game Pass for as a license, but I don't see any reason why Xbox probably couldn't go and say, hey, you pay for the subscription, you get Call of Duty multiplayer for free. To buy it, you can buy the campaign separately. Maybe. Or it's included like with Xbox Game Pass like it was for Halo Infinite. Now the big questions here is the legal for, can Microsoft go and acquire this, because a lot of these titles, especially Call of Duty and Overwatch, are available on PlayStation and Xbox. I know they've gone and said we want to keep PlayStation included because, like I said, the player base for the Battle Pass systems, they need a bigger one because that's a recurring revenue stream for the game. It's what keeps the games alive. Activision, no doubt, makes more money, and if I recall this correctly, makes more money on the Battle Pass than they do sales of the game. I mean, it's $100 to go and do the Battle Pass. Even if you buy a couple tiers, you're spending $10 for 10 tiers or something like that, which is about a sixth of what it costs to go and buy the game outright. Just the standard version, not the ultra versions or anything like that. And I mean, I can see the pros and cons for both. I mean, on one hand, you can go and say maybe some of these games won't get the love that they would have, but on the other hand, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe because Microsoft has so much cash, they can throw a whole bunch of money at the next Diablo install, at the next Diablo game that's currently in limbo because of all the issues going over at Blizzard. Same thing with Overwatch. I mean, look at how much dev money Microsoft has poured into something like Halo Infinite. It took 7 years to develop. And Microsoft can't do that because they have a ton of cash, and they generate so much cash that it's a blip in the water. It could be that Microsoft goes and acquires Activision and all the other studios, and they put an influx of cash in to go and say, hey, go all out, triple your dev teams, and if you play Warzone at all, you would want that definitely, and I'm sure for WoW and for StarCraft, you would love to go and see dev teams and a whole bunch of money be put into those titles to keep them alive, to keep them going, to keep them fresh. And as I mentioned before with like Game Pass, this is the future whether you like it or not. It just simply is. You can't sit here and tell me that you're going to be buying disc for the rest of your life. You already don't do that on PC. You buy through Steam. And you sit here and you look at the gaming landscape at the moment. And it's kind of video games as a service now. We've seen the shift over the past couple of years of going from you buy your games at GameStop like I did when I was a teenager and younger, to you buy them all through your console or through whatever you play on. If you're sitting there, I mean, I know consoles have disc and all stuff like that, but if you're sitting there going saying I'm going to keep buying discs for the rest of my life, you're kind of deranged, because you're going to have stacks and stacks and stacks. I mean, at my parents' house, I have all my old games are there, and it's just ridiculous how many of them there are and how much they take up space and all that stuff. But when we look at the gaming landscape, you've got a bunch of these services now. I mean, Xbox Game Pass is kind of you go and we provide the content, you pay for you get the content, you play it on your device, you play it on your hardware, whether you have a PC, whether you have a console. You pay for the content, and you can use it however you want. You can sit there, pick up a game, play it for an hour and say, oh, I don't want to play it, undownload it. Or you can keep coming back to it, like a game like Fallout. Oh, I want to go and play Fallout 4 because I never had the opportunity to play it. You can undownload it. 3 months later, you can re-download it. Then there are other games, like there are other subscription services like NVIDIA. NVIDIA has theirs where you can go and essentially do the opposite of, you have the content because you bought F1 2021 and you have a NVIDIA 1080 Ti in your PC, but you want to go and play it on a 3090. Well, you can go and rent you can go and pay to access one of NVIDIA's 3090s in one of their server data centers, and play it on there. So it's coming down to that kind of you're either paying for the content, like Xbox Game Pass, or you're paying for the hardware, or you're paying to rent the hardware, which is the NVIDIA side. I know PlayStation has a subscription service where you can kind of do the same thing with all their exclusive titles, and that's where Microsoft and PlayStation, Sony are kind of neck and neck there. But I think what Microsoft has done better is have a lot more content and from far ranges, right? Like you got EA, you got Bethesda now, and soon, in a couple of years maybe, Activision and Blizzard content. I mean, I've never played World of Warcraft because I know there's a subscription and all stuff like that, but I may be inclined to, or StarCraft, because I can go and take it on, I can go put it on my PC and play it. And I mean, Activision from a financial standpoint is kind of in a rut right now, especially. You can sit here and, my webcam. I mean, the stock price alone because of all the headlines that have come out about Blizzard. But we've heard that Vanguard did well, but it's not doing that well. Player base has dried up completely because of all the glitches and all the bugs. And with Overwatch and the new Diablo kind of in limbo, they need something to help them out down the road because financial analysts out there and investors are sitting there going, what's next? We know there's going to be a new Call of Duty every year, but other than that, what's next? What's going on? Because Blizzard's entire dev side is pretty much hollowed out right now because of all the talent that's left. And maybe the flip side happens where people go and see, oh, if the deal is legally sound, Microsoft can come in, Microsoft is going to be the owner. Well, they won't let something like that happen. And you see an influx of talent to go there because they have that safety net of the parent company Microsoft won't let anything like that happen, and they'll right the ship if it does happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it's Activision desperately needs something like this, or else they're just gonna slow decline. And I said this when a lot of the Blizzard stuff was happening, was if you see a flood of talent out, Activision's kind of done for. Because in content, you need a lot of talent. Because talent produces content. And if you're a content creation company, like Activision, Viacom, like Netflix, you need content to survive because that's what you do. And if you can't go and attract the talent, you can't get good content, and then people won't go and purchase that content. That's just the way it is. And maybe the deal will close and Microsoft saves Activision and Blizzard. Maybe the deal doesn't close because it gets shot down for legal reasons, and Activision then continues their slow decline. And this would have been their saving grace. Or maybe they merge with, or maybe they get taken out by someone else. I know a lot of people were talking about, because Netflix is entering into mobile games, Netflix acquiring someone like Activision or Amazon or Google, because all three of those are now starting to do Google through Google Play, and Amazon via Luna have partnered with developers for titles to be on their video game streaming services. Amazon with Luna has Ubisoft. I think Google has EA. I think so. So maybe one of those would have purchased them. I think the better fit is Microsoft, because they do have that Xbox side with the rich game development history. Again, they seem to have integrated Bethesda well so far into themselves, and they have the cash to go and keep it alive. I mean, Xbox basically is at most break even for Microsoft. They kind of throw cash at it to keep it going. Game Pass kind of changes that a bit, but for the most part, it's a break even business. And they have the cash to go and keep it going. Not a whole lot of other companies can go and do that. If Netflix were to go and try and counterbid, which they'd be idiots to go and do, I would fear more for Activision than anything else, because Netflix, one, doesn't have the cash to burn. Two, doesn't have really the server capacity to go and integrate gaming and content all on one platform. They have to have two separate platforms: Netflix gaming and their content. I mean, also Netflix really would have to take on a whole lot of debt in order to go and pay $69 billion for a gaming company. It's just a very interesting time, because this kind of came out of the blue. I know the timing of the deal was pretty much Microsoft got very interested and approached them in November and worked through the holidays to go and get this deal kind wrapped up. So in November, it would have been right here, right after Vanguard release, all throughout here, and then the deal got announced today. So they were pouncing, because if the deal started getting talks in early November, it would have been, $60 stock price, $65 stock price, 66, maybe 70, and then, keeping that same price in mind, that same valuation in mind. They would have really had to put pen to paper to go and figure this all out. And if they were, to go and put a deal together in November, they must have been planning it at least a couple months out, at least. Because in order to strike a deal that large in 2 months, there must have been a lot of prep work on Microsoft's side. So they've been planning on this for a while, is from what I would expect. It's actually very funny. I got reached out today by a recruiter to actually go and talk to them about a job as a financial analyst covering video games. And today, we have the single biggest video game deal in the history of finance, really. Also in the history of Microsoft, this will be their largest acquisition. LinkedIn was $22 billion, and this is pretty much triple that. So one, it's a huge acquisition, and two, it'll be the single biggest deal in gaming since Activision and Blizzard merged, really. So it's a very interesting time right now, especially with everything going on at Activision and kind of the state of where Call of Duty is on both Warzone and in Vanguard. And I think it kind of is fitting at the moment that this deal is happening, because we're kind of at this point with Vanguard and Call of Duty where it's like, okay, we had a game release, it kind of flopped. Warzone's now the flagship of Call of Duty. What's the history? What's the future look like? Is it just going to be pay for multiplayer and no one wants to play the campaign? Because the campaign on Vanguard was the shortest, I think, at 5-hour playtime. I know Cold War was like 5.5, 6 hours. Campaigns have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller because no one plays Call of Duty for the campaign. It's all multiplayer, and now with Warzone, it's even more towards multiplayer for the Battle Royale. And, I've heard people talk about, do you just cut out the Call of Duty campaign and just have it all just be multiplayer with different guns in different eras, or do you actually still need the story to go and make the timeline fit and all that stuff like that? And not a whole lot of people care about the characters, to be honest. I don't play. I like some of the Call of Duty campaigns have been fantastic. Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2 was a fantastic campaign. Same with Call of Duty 4, which was Modern Warfare, the original one. Fantastic campaign. I actually enjoyed playing Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, but then Warzone comes in as the juggernaut that it is. And, that's what got people hooked. And it's such a great recurring cash stream too, because a lot of people are going to either buy a couple of years of the battle pass, buy a bundle, and it just opened up the floodgates. And then the timing is even more fortuitous with, unfortunately, all the issues at Blizzard. I don't want to make light. Those issues are absolutely atrocious. All the walkouts, I know the QA testers are still on strike. So you have very little testing going on, which is probably why Caldera is so buggy. And there's so many issues there. At the moment, it seems like Call of Duty, at least, and I don't know very much about the World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, or StarCraft scenes, but because I play Call of Duty and I make content for Call of Duty, both here on Twitch, on YouTube. I know the exact, and I watch a lot of content creators. I know the exact state of where Call of Duty is at, and no one's really happy with it. When I'm sitting there playing Battle Royale solos and half the lobby can't connect past the first circle on Warzone, It's tragic because I remember how it was. It used to be really fun to play. Now it's kind of meh. And maybe this does go in. Maybe this will go and reinvigorate all that. I mean, for gaming, they'll be the third largest company for gaming revenue, behind Tencent, which is the China gaming giant, and Sony, which we all know. Which we all know, consoles and all stuff like that. I mean, look, Xbox Game Pass has 25 million subscribers. I would imagine that, and that's significantly up from 18 million previous year. I would imagine if they introduce something like Call of Duty coming to Xbox Game Pass, that would double, instantly double. And you can see here, I mean, what happened as soon as the purchase of Bethesda closed. 20 of them came over to Game Pass, and that's probably why you got a lot of the jump here. It's because people go and say, "Oh, cool! I can now play all the Dooms either on my PC or on my Xbox." And however, one of the big things about this is Phil Spencer, the CEO of Activision, is going to get $250 million payout with their with his contract agreement. And you sit here and you go, okay, Xbox Game Pass, like would go and include Activision Blizzard games, and Activision Blizzard has over 400 monthly active players worldwide. So if just 10%, right, 10% of those guys go over to Game Pass, you're at almost 30 million subscribers, which would be insane for a gaming subscription company. See, look, we will offer as many Activision games as we can within Game Pass and PC Game Pass, both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog. There are no specifics, but Warcraft, Call of Duty, Diablo, and Candy Crush brands to choose from, to name a few. The service will have a lot of options. So I would imagine Game Pass, they would put for PC, right? Warcraft and Diablo would go instantly onto PC Game Pass, Xbox on both, which would be awesome. Because that means for someone like me, I could go and download it. I could download Warzone on my computer and play. And Xbox is continuing to go and push their rollout. They've got Xbox Cloud Gaming for iOS and PC, where it's a browser version. So think about that, right? In the future, potentially, you could go and be like, oh, I can play Warzone from anywhere via the Microsoft Cloud. Just like NVIDIA has their NVIDIA Cloud, where you can go and essentially rent a GPU. You can go and say, oh, I'm going home for the holidays. Like when I went home for the holidays, I took my Xbox Series X with me. I put it in my backpack to go on a plane. So I could go and play Warzone and make content and all that stuff. Because I play Warzone on my console. And even if I had it on my PC, I'd have to re-download it on a PC. Versus if the merchant does go through, and you could go and play Warzone on Xbox Cloud Gaming, I could just, type in a browser tab, log in, and play Warzone right from any computer without any of the hardware constraints, because it's all could be in the cloud. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how cloud would work, it's pretty much just like NVIDIA, where you essentially would game on one of their servers from Microsoft, or if you use NVIDIA Cloud, where it's you essentially rent one of their GPUs in the data centers. So that would be that'd be really great, and it takes off a whole bunch of hardware issues for a lot of people, like with the GPU shortage. It'd be great if you can just go and type into a browser, like right here, go on Xbox Cloud and be able to play without any hardware constraints. You don't have to worry about going and getting a 3090 or a 3000 series GPU from NVIDIA or the AMD equivalent to go and play your newest titles. The deal makes a lot of sense. It's just whether or not it'll actually go through. And I can see the arguments both for and against, right? You know, would they make them all Xbox exclusives now? They can't. It doesn't make a whole lot of business sense to make these titles Xbox and PC. Well, there are some of these are PC exclusives, but for like Call of Duty, it doesn't make sense, or Overwatch, to make them Xbox exclusives. It just simply doesn't. Why would you alienate all the PlayStation players? That's your revenue. You can go and give me the argument, yeah, Xbox has done that with Halo for years, for decades at this point. Yeah, I mean, but that's a console exclusive. Crossplay has opened everything up. I mean, and this Halo that came out was the first one to be on both Xbox and PC. So someone that has a PlayStation can still go and play Halo. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to reiterate. I mean, I don't see Call of Duty going to Xbox exclusive. I see it going to the Xbox Game Pass. Like I said, so maybe you can go in, you know, get multiplayer first, like they did with Halo Infinite, and then the campaign comes out later, which you can purchase. I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see what people think about this as time goes on and we learn a little bit more, because today we just got the rough details of the deal, how things are going to integrate. Like I said, all the legal challenges are still going to come ahead. The FTC, the DOJ, to go and see if it is a monopolistic tendency, any monopolistic characteristics. Now, for those of you that don't know your financial history, Microsoft has been down this path before with Microsoft Office and Windows, as going and having to deal with all the monopoly trials in the 90s, and they learned their lesson. They're not going to go and do this deal if they didn't think they had a lot of that it was possible. You don't throw $70 billion on the table if you're not confident that it can be executed. And I imagine because the deal came in November was when they first they approached Activision about it, and to go and work out all the kinks, to then go and announce it now. So about 2 months. I imagine Microsoft was looking at this for a while. Like I said, because it'd be a waste of a lot of money and manpower to do this just to go and think it wouldn't go through. Now, if it doesn't go through, like I said, I think Activision's a big has a lot of issues. It'll be tough. Actually, I just got an email that my Bloomberg's back on. For those of you on YouTube, I'm sorry about that. My Bloomberg I just got my login back, so I don't have to use browsers and all that stuff anymore. I could have gone straight to Bloomberg. But I just got that email. Let me know, guys, on YouTube, for the comments, for the likes, all that stuff like that. If you guys want some more of these, if I should live stream this on YouTube as well. I've been doing this on Twitch, just chatting. That's why it seems it's a little clunky. I'm not going to edit it because I had a lot of free-flowing thoughts, not a whole lot of silence. We had some good interaction with the chat early on, all about, how things are going. So if you guys have any comments, please, like, subscribe on the channel. Come over to Twitch where I stream Call of Duty. I'll be doing it I do it every Friday, Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And every once in a while I do these financial live streams where I talk about some stuff. I have some stuff being planned out with my friend Tom Bruni, who's also on YouTube. Go subscribe to his channel because he does a lot of financial stuff, and we've been planning some content to go and do together. And with that, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for tuning into the stream. I'll see you next time.